Hello besties! It is Becky here with Bestie Becky's Crafts, and today is videotape number 2 in my flowers series, and today we are going to focus on making tiger lilies. Where I used to live in Iowa, these would be growing wild in the ditches, and once in a while you'll see them here in North Carolina where I live now. And they are orange. Pretty much just, they're all orange. I think they're beautiful. So I wanted to add them to my little project that I am making. And remember, in our last video we made a wild rose that looked like this. So these will be a nice complement to the bouquet. So let's go ahead and get started on making our lilies. So let's go ahead and pan out, and I'll put these off to the side. The die that I used was from Spellbinders, and it's from their Die Delight line, and it is called Create a Stargazer Lily. So that's their version of what a lily should look like. And like I said, the tiger lily, I interpret it as all orange. So I cut out my pieces, and these are my pieces right here. Lots of die cutting because I made, well, this will be 5. So I needed 2 leaves. There's one that's a little bit fatter than the other one. The calyx, 3 small petals, 3 bigger petals, and then the stamen for the center. And these were all orange, of course, and then you pick whatever green you feel works best for you. And then I will put this off to the side and go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and do our coloring. Now this is what I've been coloring on to make these, and it is a hot mess, but these are kind of a hot mess to make if you add all the distress ink and the coloring and all of that. But that's okay. That's what kind of makes them fun. So let's start with our small petals here, and hopefully you can see them against my paper. Maybe I better flip my paper over. Yeah, there we go. Flip my paper over here, and I am putting the end that we're going to glue is actually the pointy end. The skinny pointy end is where we're going to glue. So I am going to take this color called Carved Pumpkin, and I am going to put that in the center of my petal, in the bottom. Just kind of bring it down, because this is going to give me some extra depth in the center of the flower. And then I'm also going to go around the edge. Oops. Like so. Now you can see why my fingers have been a mess lately. Yeah, I went to the store the other day and it's like, oh, it looks terrible. So I'm kind of glad that I have no fingernails and that I definitely do not have them painted. Alright, so there's that. I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on that real quick. And I also, just to add a little extra depth, was to just take a little bit of fired brick and add this to that center there. Because the carved pumpkin is pretty darn close to the color of our paper. Alright. They keep sticking, I keep flipping them over. Okay, so we have our petals, right? And now I'm just taking a Copic marker, and this one happens to be, I don't know what color, but it is YR18. And I just picked a dark orange color, as you can see here, to put the spots on my flower. Alright, now if you look at a lily, lilies, except for Easter lilies, Easter lilies don't have dots on them, but other lilies will have dots on them, and they'll have dots of different colors. So if you're making a lily, it's a good thing to kind of take a look at a picture and just kind of see what they look like. So I kind of noticed that they had dots that went around the edge, different sizes, small, medium, not too big, and then I just go up the center a little bit. And I do that on all of them. Doesn't have to be perfect. The dots can overlap. You know, there's no science to it. Mine aren't better than anybody else's. Alright, so there's my 3 small petals. Alright, easy enough. So I'll put them back on my plate. And then we are going to pick up our 3 big petals. And we're going to have the right side up. Alright, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take our carved pumpkin, and we're going to put it in the center just to give it some depth. Oops, didn't mean to shake the camera there. And then I'm going to do around the edge. On all 3 of them. Just like this. Alright. And then I'm going to I'll go ahead and put this back in the bottom there. And then I'm going to take my fired brick and I'm going to put it in that bottom center, just like I did on the smaller petals. Oops. Just gotta hold on to it. And you can make it as dark as you want to, as light as you want to. It's your flower, it's your interpretation. Whatever makes you happy. So then we're going to do the dots again. We're going to use the same color marker that we used. And, you know, like I said, you can use any marker you want. Does not have to be Copic. And the same thing. You go around the outside edge. And then in the center. Sometimes they don't go all the way up, all the way around. You could just do it part way up. You could just do dots in the center. There's just all kinds of possibilities. But there are our big petals. So I'm going to go ahead and put them on our plate here. And then the next thing is our stamen. This is really easy. We take our fired brick again, and we are just going to do the tips of the stamen. The fired brick. Because if you ever noticed in a lily, you know how they have those. How their stamen is, you know, like in an Easter lily, how it's that dark yellow. Then it gets everywhere when it falls off. This stamen looks a little bit different from that, but we still want to give it some depth and some color. Because if you look at a tiger lily, they are a darker color. So, added that to my plate. Alright, we are almost done distressing. I don't need my paper anymore. Now, we're going to use our Mowed Lawn Distress Ink to distress ink the edges of our petals. Our leaves. do that real quick. And then, I don't know, I'm going to add a little extra at the tip of the leaf. I don't know what, or the petal. No, the leaf. Oh, I think I've been making too many flowers. Really not sure why. Just feel like it. If I put it the other way, you won't see it at all. I don't think. Anyway, all right. So there we have all of our pieces. So now comes the fun part, the gluing part. And actually, this is where you kind of need to know how a lily is made or looks. What's a good way to say that? But the smaller petals are underneath and then the larger petals are on top. I don't know why, but that's just how they're made. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our 3 small petals and we're going to glue them first. And what we're going to do is we're just going to start on the calyx. There are 6 spots. You can see that. There are 6 little spokes that stick out, and that's where we're going to glue our petals. So we are just going to start with the first one, and I have to pick up my petal first. We're going to just put a little dab of glue, hot glue again, and we're going to kind of put it kind of far down in there, and then I just use an embellishing tool just to kind of push it down so that I don't burn the heck out of my fingers, because I've been burning the heck out of my fingers. So let's stick a little bit closer. Now we're going to skip the next spot, the next spoke, we'll call that, on our calyx, and we are going to glue our next small petal down. Doesn't matter which one. They're all shaped a little bit different and stuff, but it doesn't matter. We're just going to glue the next one down, and then we're going to skip a spoke and glue the third one down. Just like so. Okay, so now we've got our 3 petals down, our small ones that go underneath, and now we're going to glue our bigger ones that will go on top. So these will go on the spokes that don't have anything. That makes sense, doesn't it? And I'm going to put them kind of far down, just like so. Do the same with the next one. And it just requires just a little dab of glue, not much. You could use just wet glue, but you'd have to be really patient and allow drying time. And I just don't have patience for that. Not when I'm doing a project like this. Alright, so there we have all our petals glued down. And you know, I've learned this, that it is probably stuck to my work surface because of all that glue. So pry it up. Alright, now I have the right side of my calyx, I forgot to tell you, facing down, because, I don't know, you might see that. So you want the pretty side, I guess, facing down. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to fold our calyx around and glue it. So this kind of gets a little tricky because we've got a lot of glue going on there. So I use my round nose pliers from my jewelry set. It kind of helps. If you don't have it, that's fine. I just found it just kind of helps me in this situation because we got kind of a lot going on here. just to kind of break it up a little bit and get it moving around. And then like this side, this is the side that we're going to put the glue on. So kind of turn that over, and then we're going to keep kind of rotating it up, getting it to move around. And then you just kind of hit a point where it's just gonna be kind of ugly. I don't know how else to say it. And you're just gonna force it around. And you're gonna have to bend petals a little bit and stuff. But don't worry. Don't worry. Alright, so you want it so that your spokes kind of all, you know, stay close together, like, you know, like they all stay close together. So when you're bending this one around, you want it to be close to that, and you're going to have a little hole there at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to want to glue. Like I said, it's going to be ugly, it's going to sound ugly, it's going to feel ugly, but it's going to be worth it. Trust me. Alright, so I've got a good hold of it. I've got that little spoke sticking out, and I'm just going to put some glue on it, tiny little bit, and glue it around, hold it for a second, and then do the same as before, just kind of flatten that out so it looks prettier. And I didn't burn my finger that time. Yay, I'm so glad. Okay, so now you've got like this, and you're like, oh my god, it looks like a mess. A hot mess. So then you just take a good old pencil, and you start with one of the smaller petals that are on the outside. And if you look at a tiger lily out in the wild, sound like it's a zoo animal. They're pretty curled out. I don't know how to say it. So the outer smaller petals, you're really going to curl. So you're pretty much going to be bending them, curling them where they meet the calyx. So you just kind of go around and you bend them out of the way, which I find easier. Give them a really good curl with your pencil. So you've got those 3 outer ones, okay, like so. And then you're going to start with your inner ones, and you're going to curl them too. But you're not going to curl them quite as far as the other ones. And what's nice is in this die, they put a slit, so when you curl it, you don't break your keeps flying away. You don't break your petals, tear them. Okay, so there we've got our nice little flowers. Aren't that cute? Alright, so let's do our stamen. All stamens are pretty much the same. And like I said, if I could find my quilling tool, it'd be really nice, but tweezers work just as well. So I put my tweezer on the end like this. This is the outside, this is the right side, or I'm sorry, wrong side, right side, because we want the right side facing out. So we're just going to twist this around, keeping it even on the bottom. And then once we hit the end, we just kind of squish it with our finger. And then now we've got that little piece there, but just a dab of glue. and then push it closed and burn my finger. Alright. Now be careful when you pull it off. Just like I should have told you when you pull the other stamen off for the flower, just so that you don't pull the center out. And then here is our little stamen, and our stamen is going to be glued into the center of our tiger lily. So we're just going to put some glue on it. I kind of put some glue around it and the bottom. And we're just going to stick it in there. And just make sure it's straight. Don't want a crooked stamen. So just make sure it's straight. Let it dry. I got like hot glue little... I have hot glue everywhere. Everywhere. Alright, so it sets up pretty quick. So then I just kind of take my finger and I just kind of, you know, open up the stamen a little bit. You don't want it all squished in there. So just kind of spread it out a little bit. Because in nature they're spread out. And then we have our leaves. So we have our 2 leaves. Oops. And I'm just going to curl them with the pencil. And then just glue them on. I mean, there's really not any right place or wrong place to glue them. Just, they kind of go on opposite sides. So you just kind of pick a side. A lot of times I pick where I have the, for the calyx, where I glued the calyx together. A lot of times I'll put a leaf there, just to kind of cover up that little mess there. And then put one on the other side. Yeah, I think I'll put it over there. Just a little glue on the tip. And glue it down. Just like that. And more little spider webs, but there's our lily. So we'll add it to our little bunch here. And there we go. Got a little group of tiger lilies. Aren't they fun? Really aren't that hard. So I hope you give them a try. I hope you liked the video. And I hope you didn't stop by urge you to make some lilies. Or look in the ditches as you're driving along down the road and see if you can spot any. But just go ahead and maybe give it a shot. You might enjoy making some flowers. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and happy crafting, and I will see you next time. Bye.